1 minute late. Sorry for my tardiness. 7:21 on Tuesday, March the 25th of 2025. Again, 7:21 is the local time right now. I am Alan Holt, Chief Meteorologist here at KIII TV3, based in beautiful Corpus Christi, Texas. Before we get started talking about this rain chance, again, we're streaming live not only to Facebook. I feel like that's where the majority of our audience is, but we're also on 3 News Plus on our YouTube channel. And I wanted to just do a quick mention on the 3 News Plus. You can download that onto your TV, and it's almost like if there was a TV station that only had Channel 3 content. I'm not talking about like ABC programming. I'm talking about KIII stuff. That's what that 3 News Plus is like. So all of the weather forecasts, all of the local news stories, they all live there. And if you wanted to watch a newscast and just see, what we're doing, it's a good place to go. So 3 News Plus, you can just download that right onto your TV, and we're really trying to push that right now. Just it's a great resource, especially during times like we're about to see, where it's going to get a little more active with respect to the rain chances and what we're expecting here. So it's humid out right now. Trying to let people gather on to this thing. Not a whole lot of people, mid 60, 70 people. We're going to walk through everything. I get it. There's going to be questions. Just hopefully get through, this, and they'll be answered for you after we're done. It's going to be a long talk. About a little after 7:20. We'll hopefully go through about 8 o'clock before we log off of this thing. Right now, still in the upper 70s. It is, again, very sticky feeling outside, and that humidity that you feel, probably can feel it as you're doing whatever you're doing around town. That humidity is going to play a role in the rainfall production that we see start to develop as early as tomorrow afternoon. So if you have plans tonight, really no issues with respect to rain. This is just the overnight time frame. We're at 77 right now. I think we'll be right around 70 by midnight, and then into the upper 60s by tomorrow morning. It will not be a cool start. Southeasterly breeze, 5 to 10 miles per hour. There may be a hint of patchy fog, but I don't think it's as widespread and as dense as it was this morning. So tomorrow morning, I think, starts quiet. Then things start to change. So for me, this is my least favorite type of rain forecast to try and figure out, because a lot of the rain, I feel like almost everywhere else, the rain chances hinge more so on some identifiable feature at ground level, at the surface, whether that is a surface low that's spinning around at ground level, or a dry line. West Texas dry line will ebb east and west throughout the day this time of year, and that can spark storms, or a cold front or a warm front. Those are all boundaries that are fairly easy to see, and it's a lot easier to forecast rain placement and timing with those. Our case here is completely driven by upper level energy. So it's, 20,000 feet up in the atmosphere that we're going to be looking to try and decipher when these rain chances are going to be at their best. So it's that upper atmosphere energy coupled with the moisture building in to the region. Gulf moisture coming in on those southeasterly winds. And it's really just those two things, moisture and lift, that's going to give us a multi-day rain episode. So on this chart, what I want to point out, what I did here is I put two, well, there's actually three contours on it. We'll start at the ground level. The green and the brown that you see in Texas, that is the dew point. That's just dew point. So anything green is humid, anything brown is dry. That's the only point I want to make with that. The yellow and the red, that is that upper level energy that I was just referencing. And then the other the movement you see, the little wind contours, we call those wind particles in the weather computer. Those are just showing the wind at that same level as the red and the yellow. So that's the wind direction at the level of the rising air, that upper level energy. And so that's what all of that is showing. So what's going to happen is there's a parent area of low pressure that's out in the Pacific right now. Out in front of that, there's little pulses of energy that are going to be moving in from the west starting tomorrow afternoon, and that will precede the upper level energy. So I'm going to put it into motion. You'll see those little waves of energy pass over us Wednesday afternoon and Thursday. By Friday afternoon, that parent low, the upper level low, will be east of us. It'll still be humid, but the energy goes away, and that's why the rain chances will be trending down after Friday morning. So our threats, all right, the weather concerns, I'm just going to go macro here. It's primarily a heavy rain and flooding threat. I put lightning as high because I do think we're going to hear thunder. So, it's there. There's going to be thunder with this rain chance. And I don't think it's just flooding everywhere. I don't think we have that. I do think several inches of rain certainly possible, but, widespread flooding, I don't see that happening at this point. Although I do see localized flooding happening over the course of the next several days. The other things on here, the high wind, I have that as low. And in my brain, when I think high wind, I'm thinking severe thunderstorm level wind, which is 58 miles per hour or greater. That would be, on this chart at least, the definition for high wind. And I don't think we have that at this point. Hail threat to me looks fairly low. I'm not saying zero. I'm not saying no or none. It just doesn't look, as high as the flood risk, for example, does. And then the tornadic risk, I have at very low. Out of all of these variables, characteristics, criteria, whatever, I think that's probably the lowest possibility on this list. So for me, I'm thinking primarily a flood concern, and there's going to be some thunder as well. That's where my head is on the risk. So it's prompted us to go with a weather impact alert. That's really starting Wednesday in the afternoon, and that runs through Friday morning. And the threat is for, widespread rain, heavy rain, thunderstorms, that flood risk, and you'll just want to keep up with the latest. I put that on the need to do, right, is, let's say you're going to work Thursday morning, it's raining, you're wondering about road conditions, you'll want to be keeping up with the forecast, watching, whatever you like to watch to keep up with the latest. So that's what you got to be doing in situations like this. Rain gear, I feel like that's kind of like, yeah, we should have the rain gear ready to go with the rain in the forecast. This is really the first big chance for rain that we've had in quite some time. I was going back and looking at, the last time we got over 1 inch in one day. and that was on January the 9th of this past year. And really, from October to now, it has been awfully dry. We've only had about 2.5 inches of rain in that entire span of time. So we could easily double 6 months worth of rain in just the next 2 or 3 days. So it's a significant rain chance. Again, we've got the weather impact alert stuff going. This is where we get into the nitty gritty now. This is our Futurecast, and this is going to show, I don't know if I paused it in the right areas. I can't remember. We'll find out together. If I didn't, I'll just go and adjust it in the Weather Center. But moving into tomorrow morning, should be fairly quiet. There's the afternoon, and you see the expansion of showers and thunderstorms. Some of these with heavy rain, not everyone's getting it, but they're certainly expected to be around into Wednesday afternoon. And this is simulated radar, so it's not, we shouldn't be looking at this and taking it verbatim. I wouldn't go out and say that, northwest of Dilley and out toward Gonzales and just south of Corpus Christi, north of Baffin Bay, there's going to be, we're not there. I wish we were that good with our modeling, but the point is that tomorrow afternoon, we're going to see some activity start to pop up. Into Thursday morning now, this is where I think there could be some flooding concerns on the morning commute, because overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning, things look to stay fairly active. And if it does, then Thursday morning, there could be some localized flooding in the area. Heavy rain, rumbles of thunder, and I think a pretty good portion of the area will be observing some type of shower or thunderstorm. Thursday in the afternoon, for me, this looks more like a hit and miss type thing. I don't think it's a rain all day type of day, but I do think that there will be showers and or thunderstorms floating around throughout the day. So that's Thursday, and any type of big rain over a road or an area that is already, experienced some flooding, that could add to the problem there. And then by Friday morning, one last gasp of rain. And this is when that parent area of low pressure will be coming over. So I think Friday morning through about 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, that's about the last of when I think the rain chances will be in play, because as of right now, that area of low pressure by, Friday afternoon starts to get east of us. And when we're on the back side of these things, that's when the rain chances really tend to go down. So by Friday afternoon, Friday night, we should be wrapping up with the rain chances. So that's how it looks on our simulated radar imagery. The next question becomes, how much are we going to get? And I'm going to spend some time on this here because, there is modeling out there. I think it was the European, was throwing out over a foot of rain in some portions of south central Texas. The Weather Prediction Center, it's a branch of NOAA, their forecasts was up over 8 inches of rain in parts of the coastal bend, like right through Refugio, B, Live Oak counties, over 8 inches of rain there. That was their forecast. A lot of other forecasts coming in way aggressive, like a lot of rain. That's the GFS, the European, and then I referenced the WPC, the Weather Prediction Center. Their outlook is very high, like 8 to 10 inches of rain in Corpus Christi. You can Google it if you want, WPC rain outlook, and you can find that map if you'd like. But, I'm a little bit more conservative, just as a meteorologist in general, I am not going for the cherry-picked worst-case scenario. I'm going with just a little more hedge on a reasonable outlook. And for me, you know, like, for example, this forecast, a lot of Corpus Christi, I've gotten to 3 to 6 inch range. Not all of it. If you look closely on the map, you'll see the Oso Creek, Oso Bay area. I didn't include that or the island in the 3 to 6 inch range, but 1 to 3 inches certainly plausible. And I think there's a wide swath of 3 to 6 inches of rain, which does include about half of the watershed and extends up to about the I-10 corridor. That's that 3 to 6 inch range. So, you know, I'm hand drawing this. I'm looking at all of the available modeling, which, by the way, the high-res modeling, I'm typically all about that. But it is coming in way, way lower, like half an inch of rain for a much wider area. And that's what I was talking about yesterday, that boom or bust potential. I got rid of that graphic today. I just wanted to focus on, you know, what I thought was most likely. But in the back of my head, I'm still thinking, yeah, that boom or bust potential is there. And if the high-res modeling verifies, you know, I would hate that if we only got a half inch of rain, but it's showing up in data, so I don't want to completely ignore it. But the point I wanted to make in this graphic particularly is that there's a darker shade of green that I drew in that does include Bee, Live Oak, Refugio counties, and then a little north of that. So almost all, even the high-res modeling, wants to throw out a narrower swath of just rampantly high rain totals. The problem is that swath is all over the place. Some of it's north of San Antonio, some of it's south of Corpus Christi, some of it's right in the middle between Corpus Christi and San Antonio. I put it in parts of the viewing area, and I put it there just kind of arbitrarily because I knew I was going to talk over it, just like I'm doing right now. Did it on the air earlier. And the point I want to make with it is that I do think that there's going to be a strip somewhere of rain that maybe exceeds 6 inches, over a half a foot of rain, but I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know where that's going to set up. I think it could be as far north as the I-10 corridor, and I think it could be as far south as Highway 44 between Corpus Christi and Alice. I don't know. I wish I did, but it's showing up. It's just all over the place. So that dark green is going to have some wiggle room north-south. And that's the point I wanted to make with that part of that forecast in particular. This rain is just, we desperately need as much rain as we can get out of this system. Most of our viewing area, the coastal bend, is in severe drought. You look up towards San Antonio and it's exceptional drought into the hill country. That does include about half of the Choke Canyon catch zone, the Frio River watershed. And, you know, if we get that over that, that's hugely beneficial. So, you know, I'm going to make a couple of more points here about all of this stuff. The drought we've got ongoing. This really didn't start to happen in terms of us being labeled as drought on this graphic until October of last year. Up until then, we were above average in the coastal bend on rainfall last year. We had like 26 inches of rain, which is about 5 inches short of average. That was through the month of September. But once we got into October, the faucet just shut off. And since then, again, since October 1st, we've only had about 2.5 inches of rain. So we ended last year about 5 inches below average, with most of that deficit coming after October 1st. And now this year, we're almost 3 inches below average because we really haven't gotten much other than that January 9th 1 inch of rain. So the point I'm trying to make is it would take about 8 inches of rain or so to remove the colors from this map. And I don't think we'll get there. I think spots might. This probably is not going to be changed. In fact, it will not be changed when it comes out on Thursday because the analysis for this happens today. So nothing has changed. It might even be worse than it is when it comes out on Thursday. But I don't think we'll get enough rain to erase all of the colors on this. And then up on the top left, that 16.8%, that's the combined level as of today, March the 25th, of the Choke Canyon, Lake Corpus Christi combined watershed. I don't think we see enough of a movement there to get us completely out of water restrictions. I mean, that's a tough one. If it just dumps and dumps and dumps and it gets a foot of rain over both of those, directly in, I don't know how much that would raise the level. I don't know how much runoff is going to work through all of this dry, arid ground and then eventually into these tributaries. I don't know that. So it's a hard, I just can't predict what the level will look like, even if I knew exactly where the rain would fall. And I already knew, I can't predict how that's going to affect the levels. So it won't hurt, I know that. And the drought colors should be improved in next week's drought monitor. So that's where we are with the drought. Flood risk now. I mentioned the Weather Prediction Center. That's a branch of NOAA, and they put these maps out, and so these are like risk categories. The green is the lowest risk. There's only 4. If there were a pink, that would be the highest. And you'll look at the top right of this chart here, and on the top right, you'll see the percentages. So slight, for example, has 10 to 20%. What that means is that if you were to look at any given point on this map, right, let's say your house in Corpus Christi, within a 25-mile radius of that point, there is a 10 to 20% chance for flash flood criteria to be met. That's what this means. The red, the moderate, there's a 20 to 50% chance that any given point within 25 miles of that point has a chance 20 to 50% of flood. So I know slight and moderate don't sound terribly alarming, but this is a decently high risk for flood potential. It's not to say that everything is going to flood, everything will be underwater, but there could be some localized, street flooding or tributary flooding. That's for tomorrow, and a lot of this would be afternoon and nighttime. By Thursday, you see we're still in that moderate risk in a lot of the coastal bend. If we're not there, then we're in the slight risk. So again, what I'm trying to say is this is from the Weather Service. This is NOAA, the Weather Prediction Center, and they're putting these out, and we're right in the thick of it right here in Corpus Christi and a lot of the coastal bend. So, it's not just me saying, hey, it looks like a lot of rain's coming. These guys they have a lot more resources, a lot more people than, our 4-person team here at KIII. So, it's not just us thinking that it's going to rain. It's the weather community as a whole. We're the focal point for big rain over the next 2 days at least. By Friday, that moves up into southeastern Texas. I still think that we could see some early morning stuff, but by and large, by Friday, mid to late morning, I think we're done with the rains. So that's the flood risk. This is the timing of it all now, just on a nice chart that's easy to, I hope, understand. And really it's tomorrow afternoon. You see from noon to 6, we go from isolated to numerous. So we'll see the expansion of activity start in the afternoon on Wednesday. I've just put 6 p.m. at the start of our weather impact alert. That lasts through Friday morning, 6 a.m. And you know, it looks like the best chance time-wise for rain will be Wednesday evening and night / all of Thursday, and really more so Thursday early in the morning. I think that maybe I'll adjust that for the news and just bump it up a little bit, Thursday 6 a.m. But it goes down Thursday afternoon, still up there, and then completely gone by, you know, Friday at noon. Weather Service. This is from our local office now. That other one I was talking about, the Weather Prediction Center, that's on a national level. This watch is issued locally by the team over at our Corpus Christi National Weather Service office, and they've got a flood watch also in effect from 1 Wednesday afternoon tomorrow through noon on Friday. So everything jives, right? All of these things jive. We're all looking at the same data. We're all seeing the same thing, and these products are coming out. This is the 7-day forecast, and you know, easy to see that Wednesday afternoon through Friday morning, that's the time for the rain. I think Thursday we stay sub 80, mid 70s with the clouds and the rain around. We may break out into some sun Friday afternoon before all this is, you know, as all of it's moving out. And then this weekend looks warm, like summery vibes a little bit, nowhere close, but you know, upper 80s and humid with mainly sunny skies, that's getting there. Heat index definitely well into the 90s. And we get a little front early next week that brings us closer to seasonal average. Average this time of year is 60 at night, 80 in the day. That's about where we'll be after that front heading into early next week. So see if I can answer any questions, and I'll probably go back to a graphic that I'll go to the rain forecast graphic. There we go. Just to leave that up while I try to scroll through the questions. So Arthur Cervantes, any chance of seeing hail? Very low, not no, very low on the hail threat. And if we did, you know, it would either be Wednesday afternoon or Thursday. But I don't see a huge hail threat, at least not a damaging hail threat at this point. Fred Orozco, mosquitoes. Unfortunately, yeah, if this rain forecast pans out 48 hours later, so by Sunday, yeah, there could be a little blooming of mosquitoes. Macy Marie, is there a chance this system will miss us? Or is the rainfall definite? The data says rain at this point. That's why I did that boom or bust thing. I think the bigger question is how much rain. This system is going to pass through south central Texas. That's not a question. I think the bigger question is how much rain. That's really the gist of what we need to figure out, and that's why I've left this up here. I've got 3 to 6 in Corpus Christi, but there's that bust potential. I'm acknowledging it. I get it. High res is way lower than this. The Weather Service is way higher, but I don't think that this just it stays dry. I don't think that happens. What are the winds looking like? I think the breeziest will be Thursday, 15 to 25, gusting to 35 out of the east to southeast. That's from Paul Eric Hinojosa. Same question from Linda. That's the same answer. And then just some bring on the rain commentary. We like that, yeah. Started this at 7:20. It is now 7:51. We've been going on for 30 minutes. I'm going to just leave it here. I'm going to go over to the 7-day, and if any more questions pop up, we'll get to those. I love this one where you just see where, with respect to timing, the best chance for rain will be. There's the flood watch, and then there is the 7-day. So if there are not any more questions, I'm going to get back to plugging away, looking at data. I actually do this thing on Tuesday night where I do a thing for our parent company, and it goes out nationally, a weather forecast. It's called In the News. That's the program. You can see it. Oh, this is full circle. You can see it on 3 News Plus. It's In the News. It's like a national show. And I'm one of a handful of meteorologists across the country that gets to do a national forecast. I get to pick and choose exactly what I want to do. So in this case, we happen to be one of the busier spots here in Texas for rain in the coming days. So I'll probably focus it a lot on us. When I say us, Texas in this event, on that special broadcast there. So I'm not seeing any questions. That means that we did a sufficient job answering each and every single one of them on this streaming segment. So be prepared for the rain. It does look like it's coming, several inches worth definitely on the table. Keep up with forecasts, keep up with road conditions. If it rains a lot, there could be some localized flooding, and we'll do our best to keep you updated here as well. So this is a big time benefit. I hope we get as much as we can out of it. And then it looks to clear out in time for the weekend if you have any plans there. Let me get a little kicker cold front at the end of all of it early next week. So a lot to be happy about on that 7-day. We'll see you here whenever that is, next time streaming. And if not there, then on Facebook or our 10 o'clock broadcast tonight. Stay safe.